the truth of everything I faced down. I faced down everything from people that would run gates and steal aircraft and then run off and then fly over projects like my Panama Canal and say that they were doing the project down there and they wanted to get investors to invest in their project. And then, of course, they'd get investors, and of course, most of them wouldn't be real investors, just one or two. Anyway, I faced people like that would kill 2 or 3 guards, steal like 8 or 9 planes, and try and sell the fighters or whatever, and then try and do a scam with the passenger aircraft. They'd serve drinks and pretend like they were Churchill or someone that worked for the government and doing a project, and they wanted to get people to invest in their project because there'd be money later on. And then they would run off, of course. And maybe even sell the plane for parts, basically, the stolen aircraft. To pretty much people, there's also like American Airlines seemed like a real unified and real company, but it really wasn't. It more or less there were people or groups pretty much that worked for American Airlines, but that were loosely connected to it. They had contracts with American Airlines, and basically they were paying for the aircraft, or at least taking their share and paying off the aircraft too. And pretty much they were responsible for collecting the money from the passengers and also even providing security for their own flight. Because pretty much just about everyone, once they get up there about 13,000 feet or 8,000 feet, they turn into basically someone that wants to take over the aircraft, pretty much. And they do everything from put a gun in the face of the pilot to try and rape the stewardesses or try and extort money from the other passengers, saying, "I'm going to flatulate," and then farting on the aircraft. And my stewardesses, God bless them, or Lord bless them and love them very, very much, had to learn everything from combat training to basically how to deal with Frank. Frank's on board again. You know how he gets. And pretty much, like I say, I love women and I love stewardesses, and they weathered the storm, you might say. And I know what they went through, because in many ways I went through it too. I know how, I did the contracts. I looked over the thing. I was the one in control of American Airlines, and I worked out deals with the individual pilots where basically they were loosely connected to me, and they would have the name American Airlines on the aircraft, but basically they were going to be responsible for taking the money, because a lot of people wanted to pay when they got to their destination or something like that. Makes a difference. So they were responsible for getting the money and bringing it back to the base, basically, or the other place. And they had to deal with all the nightmare of basically, here comes Tom, you know how he is. And he tries to, get on one of the flight stewardesses or something like that. And like I told them, I said, what they do is up to them and their own free time, but they are there to serve meals and drinks. They are not touching posts. They are not for you to comment or flirt with. They are just there to do their job and nothing more, and that's what they're paid to do. What they do after that, I don't know, and I don't have anything to do with. But I do not offer a in-flight sex thing. They are professionals, they are highly paid, and they're there to do a job, which is serve drinks, look beautiful, and give you a pleasant time, basically. And that does not include Anyway, I got really fussy with other people, because other people were like, well, I was like, no, they are professionals. And I even had to put some flight stewardesses through as like, you're going to have to learn hand-to-hand combat. These people are going to get unruly at some point in time, because like we found out with the Titanic, as soon as that ship set sail, you have basically 1,200 pirates on board. And sometimes the crew would have to stop the passengers from hijacking the ship often. So I always had to have at least a third of the crew, or at least a fair amount of the crew, that were basically combat trained at all times, and were ready to deal with suddenly having 2,000 or 3,000 people rush the bridge to try and take it over. So this happened quite a few times on ships like the Titanic and other ships, where my crew had to just know what to do and be combat trained to be able to subdue and take out people without necessarily hurting them, because they are paid customers, and they're just confused about the whole regulations as far as what they will do. And I even had it in my contract that they will not rush the bridge, they will not do this, they will not do that, blah blah. or they forfeit something or other. I don't know. Luggage. I don't know what I did. I don't really remember, but basically I had to work out a contract where pretty much. But basically all the things I had to face was pretty much, I mean, because we were flying to Middle East countries, everything from from basically my goat, it comes with me, to the cow. I want to buy a ticket for my cow. You know, some of the things my stewardess probably went through. I mean, I knew some of it, but I didn't know all of it, and I knew it was going to be an issue and a problem as far as like me helping people to understand that the cow ticket, it's based on weight, and you cannot take your cow onto the flight. So basically, yes, to basically people that pretty much were like, hey, let's get a plane. We'll get a ticket, and then we'll rush the bridge, you know, or we'll grab the stewardess or whatever. You know, basically, as soon as you get up to there to cruising altitude, well, all hell breaks loose, as they say. And the stewardesses could find themselves in anything from a possible rape situation to a life-threatening thing, or even maybe somebody saying, I'm going to open the door, and going for the door. So, you know, my stewardesses, I paid them like quite a bit for a reason, because they had to have combat training. Some of them had to have combat training and actually know how to subdue and even possibly disarm a person. And they also had, you know, later on, we also provided a medic, which also knew how CPR and stuff like that, because there were problems like that where somebody would also choking and stuff. That happened a lot. You know, to just people who knew how to deal with people. I mean, like I say, being a flight stewardess, it's a real job. You know, it's almost as complicated as the pilot. Actually, more so, because you have 300 people or 30 people that at any moment, if they had because these people could be planning in the background saying, yeah, we're all going to get on the flight, and then you take out the stewardesses, and we're going for the bridge. And my stewardesses, my 4 or 6 stewardesses on a flight, have to be able to deal with a situation like that and know what to do. And that can become a real issue. Like, what do you do when 30 people decide to rush the bridge or the cockpit? I mean, that's a huge problem. Or what if you get taken hostage? And because it happened, where they have a gun to my beautiful stewardess's head, and they're probably even raping another stewardess. You know, and one of my pilots even said, if you touch those girls, I'm going to crash this plane. You know, I was like, good, that's fine. I don't care. You know, I mean, I don't want them hurt either. I mean, they came to work that morning to do a job. Anyway, so, you know, to basically people taking pop shots at the American Airlines aircraft. You know, I mean, you know, we weathered the storm together in many ways. Like, I know what they were going through, and I'm surprised it worked. I'm surprised we stayed in business with everything, because there were times when I thought we were bankrupt. I really did. I was like, we're hosed. You know, this is impossible. Like with the Titanic. Like one time there was all like 500 of the crew basically rushed the bridge on the Titanic, or a ship like it. You know, and I was like, this is impossible. I can't have company with people like this. They're just going to try and steal the ship every time. So how could I be in business? So anyway, but I found a way to deal with it and just hired extra guards and stuff like that, and we stayed in business. So, I mean, being a creator isn't really enough. Being a good leader isn't enough. You know, you got to be able to deal with all those situations and anticipate them. And I was able to anticipate quite a few situations, and so were my people. You know, they knew. A lot of pilots said, "We know what we're doing." So, you know, you got to have faith in your people. So there's a lot of things that I faced and they faced, and we got through it. And America and American Airlines and a country and Germany, we somehow held it together. And I don't really know sometimes how we did it, to tell you the truth, because, you know, there were good times, bad times. So I was a really good inventor, though, and I had a lot going for me.